All right,
Testing
what's up,
1 2.
man?
We are live.
Nice. I like
Going
it
a
when
little
we're live.
going a little smoother now.
I
Yeah.
know, figuring this stuff out.
Eventually I'll get a computer that can handle this and it'll be even better.
Maybe someday we'll have like a production crew and everybody. And all that shit.
No, not maybe.
Oh, okay.
Give it like 6 months.
Okay. All right.
We'll be doing better.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I got a couple. So I didn't bring a lot today, but you mentioned something about Nickelback. So I do have a companion clip
Okay.
for when we talk about that. And then
Okay.
I wanted to do song track of the week. I've been trying to do that. And so I think for this week, I want to do this Enforcer song since I interviewed Olaf a
Nice.
few days ago. So yeah, that's all I have today. And then obviously we got Elaine coming on at
Yeah, for those
hour.
for those you here, man, we're gonna have a killer show next hour. We're gonna have Elaine on the show, and Rickard and Madeline are gonna come on, and we're gonna talk to them about their new album, and we're gonna talk about all kinds of shit with them, man.
Yeah, you've interviewed them a couple times already, so
Yeah.
you have kind of a history with them.
Yeah, they're fun. They're really fun. They're Swedish. I love their music. I mean, like that's one of the things I enjoy the most about them is their music. They have like a symphonic metal sound.
You're like they're okay as people, but I really like their music.
Yeah, I mean they're and they're beautiful people. How's that?
I have this theory that I'm working on, that I'm developing, that like 80% of the population of Sweden are rock stars, and they just like tour the US for like half the year and then spend the other half in the fjords.
Could be. I mean, we'll ask them about that, but I will tell you that it's not easy getting over the states from Sweden to tour. And they could tell us about that, but
yeah, I could believe. But it was after talking to Olaf from Enforcer, I'm just like, man, I swear, because we started listing off all these like Swedish. I was like, what's the scene like in Sweden? And then we started just listing off all these incredible Swedish bands. He was like, oh yeah, there's like Meshuggah and like what's the Opeth.
Yeah,
was the one I almost said Otep. Opeth and Meshuggah and Entombed and In Flames and Refused and like it just, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and Watain, remember Watain? Can't forget about Watain, man. I mean, they bring the raw meat with them too. So
what's the band? Was the Church Burners, like all the church burning bands?
Oh yeah, that was Mayhem. Their singer originally was
Norwegian.
from Sweden, but that's the guy that killed himself.
Right.
But they're from Norway.
Yeah, that I remember seeing a documentary with those guys, and I thought it was so badass because the guy had been in jail for burning down churches, and they're like, or do you feel any regret for what you did? And he's like, no, I'd do it again.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Unrepentant.
I mean, when it comes to the Swedish scene, I mean, there is so much good music over there. So,
and of course, we can't go forward without mentioning Sabaton.
Yeah. And in honor of my Swedes coming on, I got my Hokoff shirt on today. So
there you go.
I mean,
Syra, Thunder Mother. I mean,
yeah, we're just scratching the surface, man.
Totally.
So what you got to start with today?
Well, we can do my track of the week if you want.
I mean, we can start with my review of the show that I went to.
Let's do that. You can share your screen and show some photos and stuff, man.
All right, let me let's see. I got to share screen.
Joey and I did a
it says you gotta enable it because it says it's disabled.
What? Here, let me make sure that's not cool. Multiple. Okay, here we go. Try it again.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Now I just got to figure out how to do it like a normal person.
So there's a way you can share. If you go to advanced tab, there's a way you can share as a like a portion of your screen, like that you can select. It's like a box that'll show just like a window of your screen. And what I'll usually do when I'm showing articles is I'll use that, and then I'll use the same size I use on YouTube, but I'll collapse the browser so I can see the article.
So it's under what?
Under advanced, like when you do share, it'll give you a bunch of options, and then there's a tab that says advanced.
Okay.
And hit that, and then it'll give you an option for files or like share a portion of your screen. And if you're showing like stuff on the site, you can just share a portion of the screen. If you have a video file on your desktop you want to share, you can do that. But like if you're sharing photos, the key thing that I learned the hard way is if you're sharing a video that has sound, there's a little box you can tick that says enable sound or whatever. So don't forget to do that. But when I started doing streams, I would like share video clips and the sound would get cut off because I was letting it come through my mic, and it was always just
okay.
So it was like a game changer once I realized I could do that. Like, I'm an amateur. What can I say?
Let's see.
We got some birds.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. That do it? Does that get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Can I widen it at all? Can I change its dimensions or just leave it right like that?
Yeah. You can, that box. So if you grab the edges of it, you can stretch it.
Okay.
To fit your content. Like it'll turn green when it stretches.
Oh.
It's pretty handy. Zoom also has a whiteboard feature that
I saw that.
Mess with, because you can like draw and like take notes on screen and stuff. But I think eventually I want to get to where my computer isn't powerful. I have like kind of a shitty old laptop, so that's what we're streaming off right now. But once I get a better computer, a whole new world of opportunity will open to us. Also, it'll be cool to have someone to like power the stream while we do the like talking and share. It's kind of tough to do it as a one-man operation. Most of these bigger podcasts have like a producer guy who runs the stream and like shows the clips and stuff. And
well, I'll just get right into it, man. So I went to Nickelback's show and shot the show, and we'll just start it. It'll just let it loop through the photos. So the opener was Brantley Gilbert, and the show was at the Usani Amphitheater in Salt Lake City, which is our biggest amphitheater. And so it was a great show. It was
guy's
Brantley
got some
Gilbert,
pretty killer ink.
Yeah, he was he opened the show, and it was an odd lineup because he was kind of reminded me of a Kid Rockish kind of a guy,
I was gonna say looks very country.
Yeah, definitely country. I mean, what do you expect with the Wrangler NASCAR shirt on? And
yeah, did their drums have naked lady mud flaps?
No. But you can see the back of the bottom of the drum riser is the back of a truck. Like you see the lights on it and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
Yeah. So anyway, he put on a good show. I mean, it was kind of a country rock kind of a show. He actually got a fairly decent amount of time. He got over an hour.
I imagine a guy like that's pretty popular in Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because it brought like a totally different vibe to the amphitheater. I was expecting rocker people, but man, there was a lot of country people, a lot of Wrangler butts there.
Hey, I will say this. Those country people, I was hanging out with some chicks a couple years ago who are like way into like country dancing and country shows. I'm not a country person, but they know how to party. Those country people throw a hell of a party, and they're all good people. Yeah.
So I mean, he played a lot of his stuff, and some of it actually I remember. It sounded familiar to me. He had like he opened up with "Kick It" in the Sticks, and then The Weekend, and a lot of those country kind of songs. And then he actually did him and Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Ivan Moody from Five Finger did a cover of Blue on Black.
Oh.
And so he played that song, and he did a damn good job playing that song. I was really impressed. And you can kind of see, I think he got a little bit of his inspiration for his microphone stand from a little bit of the Five Finger Death Punch stuff with the
I want to know who did this guy's ink, man. He's got some killer tats.
Yeah, he does. I'll go through them one more time. So then they played, he played some Hank Williams cover song, a couple of those. And then yeah, they actually did a Godsmack cover of Whatever, that song Whatever by Godsmack. Did a really good job with that. And then they did a cover of Shine by Collective Soul.
Dope.
And it was cool because there was a lot of pyro in it, and because I love pyro, especially for photography. So it made that part of it made it fun for me. And then after that was the headliner, which was Nickelback, obviously. And man, I haven't. Nickelback kind of gets bagged on quite a bit. Yep. And to me they kind of remind me of the of Winger and Beavis and Butthead, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Kip Winger didn't really do much about it. He didn't fight back, but it seems like Nickelback fought back, that kind of that montage that they got.
They have a sense of humor about it too. They're like they're smart about it.
Yeah. But they, when I started watching the show, man, and you start hearing the songs, man, they've got a lot of really popular songs, and I love some of their songs. And I will say, some of the shitty part for me as a photographer, and it kind of reflects in the photos a little bit, I hate it when bands save their best for the middle and the end. It's, for me as a photographer, I hate it because, you don't get it. Sometimes you don't get any of the pyro, you don't get any of the great lights, you just get the blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of what I got. But I mean, they still kicked ass. And I was so impressed with, they had I didn't realize they had a new album out, that came out last fall. That was actually some of the songs from it they played, and it was really good. But they played, Chad talked a little bit about how he got some of the inspiration for some of his songs. Like he was, feeling kind of dirty and horny, and he wrote the song Animals. You remember that song? Mm-hmm. Wrote that song. And then I thought that was,
I'm thinking of Maroon 5.
Oh, no.
They have a song called Animals too.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay. This is the one where he talks about, getting in the back of the car and, oh my God, it's your dad. Okay. It's that song. But and then I didn't realize Ryan Peake, who is the guitar player for Nickelback, that dude's got an amazing voice too. I mean, his voice is as good as Chad Kroeger. I just love his voice. He sings a couple of leads on a couple of the songs, but for the most part he just does a lot of the backing vocals. And then I didn't realize either that I think Chad Kroeger's brother is the bass player for Nickelback. But anyway, so they played Copperhead Road, which is a Steve Earle cover. And then they played, it was pretty cool. They brought out on stage, they brought a fan out on stage, and it was this girl named Stephanie, and this cute little girl. And he says, you kind of got to know the words to this song if you're going to come up and be a part of the show. So they give her own mic and her own amp and everything, and they play Rockstar. And man, that chick just killed it on there. It was funny, man. She got up there and she was singing all the lyrics to Rockstar and stuff like that, and then moving her hands around, giving it this, giving it that. And so, I mean, she did a really good job. And so props to her for representing Salt Lake good, because they were joking, because I guess they had a guy on there. The three or four nights ago, they brought some guy up on stage, and he was so damn drunk they had to ask him 3 times what his name was. And so she did a good job. And then of course they played like Too Bad and Those Days, and I mean the first, after, right as they went into their encore, it was How You Remind Me and some of those songs. And then they came back out for the encore, and I was like, oh man, this song sounds familiar. And they played that song "Gotta Be Somebody," which is a great song. I remembered how much I loved that song when it came out. And then the last song they played is "Burn It to the Ground," which was I mean, that was a pretty heavy song if you remember that song at all. So
Remind us about it. Is it
it's just a heavy good song. So so anyway, yeah, so that's the show is great. If you know, if you just want to see a really good rock and roll show, man, I can't complain about Nickelback at all. I mean, you know, some people would bag on them and some people would say it's Nickelback. Hell no, I'm not going, but I'd go see them again. So,
you know, we covered this thing the other day with Metallica, and Kirk was talking about the connectivity you get at a rock show.
yeah.
And it's like, I never really thought about it that way, but it is like, it's a unique experience. And like just the energy that you get from that, like the cumulative energy, and like everyone's kind of, especially if it's songs that people are really emotionally invested in, and it's just like, or bands like a band like Metallica, of course, a band like Nickelback. I mean, their following is very loyal. They've been doing it for a long time. And even if you don't like the music, I guess is my point, like that experience is good. Like I feel like so many bands that you hear on the radio, like you are easy to disrespect until you see them live. Like it's easy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You can win people's respect by being a good live band.
I agree. And I think Nickelback does that. I mean, they put on a killer show, and you know, their riffs, they got catchy riffs, catchy lyrics, and that kind of stuff. And so you hear, if you just heard their songs on the radio, and you might or you might not like them, but if you see them live, man, you'll go, yeah, that's the shit right there. And that was kind of the same way Shinedown fell into that category for me. I was never a huge Shinedown fan until I saw them live, and then once I saw them live, man, they opened up that door to me to just loving their music. So
yeah, there's something to be said for that, for sure. I have a clip with me that coincides with this.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. And it's funny because when I put these streams together, when I started doing this regularly, I put together a bunch of like clips and like talking points. I'd be like watching something during the week and go, oh, this is interesting. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And this is one that I had on my list. But I ended up not using it because I ran out of time. Like one of the other segments went too long or something, and I just never used it. So when you said you went to their show the other day, I thought I would play this clip, and it's Chad Kroeger on Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Darrell defending Nickelback. So this guy actually, Rock Feed is one of the better rock channels on YouTube. He has a lot of good stuff, but check this out if you haven't seen it.
But there are those of us who remember that there once one of the most hated bands on the planet.
Still.
It's never made a lot of sense. These band have written so many massive hit songs. Before that, it was Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit is also having resurgence now, and a lot of that negativity towards them has gone away over the years. People eventually learning to appreciate their catalog. Look at Nickelback's catalog, and it's just loaded. It's
just like you were saying.
Yeah.
And Chad Kroeger, in a new interview, spoke about this. Chad Kroeger, by the way, I would love to have him on the channel sometime. This is what he had to say. Before we continue, if you're new to Rock Feed and you would like to have the
oh man, I should have skipped past all that shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
What kind of fucking rinky dink shit is this?
Radio station 97.9 WGRD. Kroeger said, Vinnie Paul and Dimebag used to say all the time, when the metal community would come down on those guys and be like, what's with all this love for Nickelback? I don't get it. They would defend us. And it was really, really lovely. They were like, go watch them play and then say they suck. Or say something negative about them. Because my favorite thing is when someone comes to a show and they go, honestly, I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I would definitely go see that show.
There you go.
Yeah.
take that all day long. That's a hell of a compliment. Speaking on how he dealt with the tragic murder of guitarist Dimebag Darrell in 2004 during a performance, he said, "That one hurt. I had a tough time, really tough time. With that one for such a long time. You'd see him on the cover of Guitar Magazine or something like that, and I'd be standing there in a grocery store, and my girlfriend would go to pull me. She's like, 'Come on, let's go.' And she can't move me. And then she looks over, and there's just tears streaming down my face, and I'm like, ugh. And she's like, 'Do you want to go home?' And I'm like, 'Yep, I want to go home right now.'"
That's shitty.
Yeah.
But it felt like shocking. This guy back so many lives. That the
That's funny though, him talking about Nickelback and Pantera, throwing it out for him.
Yeah, I thought, you like they made a lot of the same points you did. Interestingly, I mean, I didn't really plan that or anything,
Yeah.
but I think it's just goes to show what you're saying is legit. Like they're a great band, and even the guys from Pantera backed them on that. We're like, "Yo, go see them live."
Yeah, and then talk to me.
Yep, and then say they suck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was gonna there was a couple, because you know how me, I like to do the this time in history kind of a thing.
yeah.
There was a couple there was an album that came out. It was actually yesterday in 1987. If you want to go to that, is that cool?
Yeah. So say again.
If you want to go back, if you're ready to switch over to something else now.
No, oh, sorry. My neighbor's cat just came in.
Oh, nice.
She just rolls into my place. I'm like, "Hey, kitty."
Nice. So anyway, so as far as album goes, released this week, 1987. So you'll probably remember this one a little, is Y&T Contagious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great album, man.
It's a crazy thing. So my son used to hang out with this kid a few years ago when he was in grade school, and the kid's drummer, or kid's dad was the drummer for Y&T. His name was Mark Zonder.
Huh. Nice. I mean, I remember that album when it came out, and man, I love that.
Is that the one that has Eye to Eye?
Eyes of a Stranger.
Oh, okay.
And it had the title track song Contagious, which was a fucking amazing song. I love that shit. And it was a good album. I mean, Y&T is probably one of those underrated bands that deserved a hell of a lot more than they got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dave Menichetti, man, that dude played for Ronnie Montrose. And man, Ronnie Montrose, another person that didn't get a lot of the respect that he deserved, I feel like.
Yeah. It's crazy. I used to, at my gym, there's this guy that I would always talk to on the treadmills, and he was an old school guitar player, this Italian guy, and he was always talking up like Robin Trower and Ronnie Montrose.
Yeah. And see, Montrose, man, the original Montrose band, that was Dave Menichetti was in it, and Ronnie Montrose and Sammy Hagar sang vocals, man.
Oh, fuck. I saw, when I went to that Dio tribute a couple months ago, the dude from Bullet Boys, Mark Torian, they did Rock Candy.
That's such a good song, man.
Yeah.
So, Y&T, man, for anybody out there that has never heard Y&T, man, you're missing on some great guitar from that dude, man.
It's funny. There was a period, and talking to all these bands recently, like we talked to the dude from Fifth Angel the other day, me and Joey, Ken Mary, the drummer. And I mean, that guy's a heavy metal veteran. Like Fifth Angel, like, was big in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to me because how things are working cycles, because all these veterans, like Janet Gardner from Vixen, said the same thing. They were like, grunge hit, and that was it. Like the labels dropped anyone that was like glam rock like us. And I feel like now it's kind of like, because it was a weird time. It was like once Smells Like Teen Spirit came out.
Yep.
It became like uncool to like cock. They called it cock rock, was like the derogatory term for it. I got made fun of because I listened to, shit like this. since the time I was a little kid, but it's like I feel like now I listen to a lot of that music, go back to it now, and I appreciate
Yeah.
it so much more. It's like
Oh yeah. I mean,
it's
yeah, some of it is cheesy as cheesy gets.
yeah.
But some of it, man, it stands up to the test of time, and it's good shit.
Like I busted out my old Skid Row stuff the other day, like the first and Slave to the Grind. That first record, man.
Solid.
Holy crap. 18 in Life and what's the other hit off that?
Youth Gone Wild and
Youth Gone Wild. I was thinking of Wasted Time, which is from Slave to the Grind.
Yeah.
But like that was the Slave to the Grind 18 in Life.
Yeah.
Like I busted up. But yeah, those albums are amazing.
Yeah. And so I mean, and Y&T is one of those bands that if you go back and listen to their catalog, you just go, that's good shit, man. It's good shit. So.
Well, we covered it's funny because in my quest to like find news items yesterday before we talked to Kenny from Typo and I found this thing from Blabbermouth about Josh Todd from Buck Cherry saying how rock isn't dangerous anymore. And I went, holy crap. He said that on our interview.
Yeah.
But I never went like, oh, that's a scoop, and was like, look what Josh Todd said, But he brought up a great point about frontmen. He goes, think about this. Like in the 90s, even, there were like a lot of great frontmen from like Lane Staley, Eddie Vedder, Zach De La Rocha from Rage, Chris Cornell. It's like, and all those guys had a different style, but like name a frontman from the 2000s, a rock frontman from the 2000s. Like there aren't any. Really, you could maybe say Nickelback or Shinedown or something like that. But they're not known on the level that those guys were. They're like a Chris Cornell or a Lane Staley is.
Yeah. I mean, you could do the same thing going back to the 80s too. I mean, you go back to the 80s or even 70s and you go back and you go, shit, man, you just list them off.
Maybe we're just old and we don't know who those people are. I think that could be part of it too. Just to be self-aware here. It's like for me too, like I'm into a lot of different types of music. Like I'm way into underground rap. So it's like someone was hyping off about Aesop Rock the other day. And I'm like, yo, Aesop Rock is like one of my favorite artists. Like it's rap, but it's like intelligent rap. It's like lyrical rap, like with like big words. And it's like, sometimes I have to look up stuff he says, but a lot of it's references like to literary references and, quotes from TV shows or movies or like woven together in this like artful wordplay. And that's beautiful, but then there's a lot of rap now that I liken it to metal in the 80s. It's like thoughtless poser shit where it's just like guys like, oh, I'm gonna cap you, I'm from the hood. And it's like, yo, like you're not bringing anything to the table here. You're just like being a poser and like acting hard on a very two-dimensional electronica beat.
Yeah. It was funny when you were talking about how the 90s and grunge and killing the hair metal scene. I remember seeing a interview with Janie Lane from Warrant.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he said, man, when Cherry Pie came out, it was like the biggest deal. And then that poster was all over when you walked into the record company, Cherry Pie poster was on there, blah, blah, blah. It was the greatest thing ever. And then he says, and then we went to release Dog Eat Dog, which was a good album.
Yeah.
But he said,
I loved Warrant.
Yeah. But
where the Down Boys go, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
But,
sometimes she cries.
Yeah. The Dog Eat Dog was a great album. But he said, right before that, Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, and he said there was no way in hell they were putting that up. They were putting our album up when Smells Like Teen Spirit was up.
Was it the guy from Loverboy who said, okay, before we move on though, the guy from Loverboy said something similar about Kurt Cobain ruined his career, but like with Cherry Pie, there's this comedy show I watch, Kill Tony. It's like one of the best shows ever. It's just like they pull people's names out of a hat and they come to
Yeah.
stand up. And the sound effects guy, whenever like to like make fun of girls that they think are strippers, they play Cherry Pie. It's so funny. Like it like a girl will come up and she'll say like, yeah, I'm a dancer, and all of a sudden be like, she's my cherry pie. We'll like start playing. It's frigging hilarious. And so like that song is still legendary in its own in its own way. You could arguably do that with Pour Some Sugar on Me too, you know.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
you could. You totally could.
you got to see it though. Like this guy Brian Redband, he's like, she's my.
That's funny.
Every time.
I was going to bring up something else too, if you're ready to move on. I just barely saw it, and so you might be able to find it on YouTube, but I saw Tony Iommi ended up on the stage with the Hollywood Vampires.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I watched it right before we came on. I just saw it pop up. And I was like, holy shit, Tony Iommi with the Hollywood Vampires. That is a legendary lineup right there.
Well, did you see the piece I did on the legend of the Hollywood Vampires and how it started and everything? Yeah. Like, I mean, you knew about all this. For me, like I saw that documentary on the Rainbow Bar and Grill. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. This is interesting. Folklore I was unaware of.
So yeah, Hollywood Vampires. I'm curious as to your take on Johnny Depp being in the Hollywood Vampires.
So here, let me see if I can find the clip real quick. But my take would be this: the original Hollywood Vampires, one of the big members was Mickey Dolenz.
Yeah.
From the Monkees. So maybe that's Johnny's role. Maybe he's the Mickey Dolenz of the group.
You know, so here's my take, and I never really thought about it, and I thought it was cool. I thought, wow, Johnny Depp's got some depth. You know what I mean? He's like, he can get on stage and jam, which makes sense because he's an actor and that kind of stuff. And he's up there. He sang a couple of on the Hollywood Vampires album. He sung a David Bowie song, and which was cool. And then I started talking to my good friend Mike Howe from Metal Church. And I was asking him about it. He's like, dude, that's such posers bullshit. Such poser bullshit. It's like the dude has not gone through anything to earn his stripes to be up on the stage with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry.
Yeah.
And he's like, he says, I can't stand it. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. Dude just stepped into it. You know what I mean?
And a guy like Mike was slugging it out in the clubs like that.
Exactly.
I mean, Metal Church is like OG thrash. Like
exactly.
I think Dave Mustaine, you know who mentioned them was Ken Mary yesterday.
Or did he?
When we talked to Ken Mary from Fifth Angel, he was talking because he's from Seattle. Like Fifth Angel's like they were talking about Queensryche, obviously a big Seattle, but he straight up, he's like Metal Church. He said was in our like group of like bands, because I know Mike was from Northern Cal, but was the rest of the band from up there?
The rest of the band itself was formed in Seattle.
Yeah.
So it was just it was funny to me because I was like, I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And you know, for somebody that worked their ass off to get where they got, you know, Mike had a very good point saying, you know, Johnny Depp just kind of stepped right into that. Just because he was Johnny Depp, you know what I mean?
Well, it's the same thing with Mickey Dolenz, right? Like Mickey Dolenz wasn't a musician. He played a musician on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and no disrespect. I mean, but I guess it is what it is. I mean, someone like Johnny Depp, I'm sure he paid dues in his own way, right?
Yeah.
Like he became a famous actor. Like that's not easy to do.
No.
And you could argue that, like, he got famous because he's a decent looking dude and like you know, had the look and got into with the right crowd and whatever. But hey, whatever. Like I ain't gonna hate. I mean, if he can actually play, I do remember this as to kind of like take Mike's side a little bit. There was a whole thing during the Johnny Depp trial, which I did not watch. I just kind of like heard peripheral news about, but it was Amber Heard was talking about how he would hang out with like all these famous guitar players like Jeff Beck and like and she's like, I'm bored, like, you
Yeah.
know, and I was just like, oh, that's so millennial of her. But no
Jeff
offense to
Beck and
millennials, but
Joe
nothing.
Perry from fucking Aerosmith, and this is
Yeah,
boring.
yeah.
I don't need to go listen to this Tim T Swift. Do you mind if I go?
Yeah, it's like, she's not listening to anything. She's not listening to shit. She like wants to go like fucking, have brunch somewhere or something. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's, I don't know. All that stuff is not. It was funny because I did a thing about James Hetfield the other day, and Mark Maron. Do you know who Mark Maron is?
Yeah.
He started posting his podcasts on YouTube, and so he posted this James Hetfield interview, which I kind of, it was from 2017, so it's not new. But James Hetfield, just to link this all together, was talking about meeting Steven Tyler for the first time. Like Aerosmith was like one of his big influences, and he's like, oh, Steven Tyler, like he revered James Hetfield of Metallica, revered these bands,
Yeah, yeah.
or
And
these
then
people.
now you got people that would just give it their right nut to meet James Hetfield.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It just continues down the
I
line.
mean, man, watching James Hetfield talk about his childhood, he grew up in Downey, and like his religious upbringing, it's like so many people can relate to that. I think that's why Metallica is so popular.
Yeah.
Like everything James said, I felt like on every level. It's like he's like,
Yeah.
my mom, like my family, like made us go to church. He's talking about Sunday school. He's like, the way he summed it up was so beautiful. It's so perfect. He's like, we had to go to church, and he's like, for me, it was like being in school again. They're like, you got to learn this Bible verse and all this shit. It was like being back in school again on the weekend. And like, I didn't like that, I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, Sunday morning, I have to get up and get dragged to this thing and be forced to learn this bullshit, like, anyway.
That's
really
funny.
good.
That's funny. So yeah, so it's and then the other cool part about it was, or the interesting part was hearing Alice Cooper sing Paranoid.
So here I have the clip.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, let's watch it. July 11th. Joe Perry, fucking the Keith Richards of his generation.
Yeah.
Johnny's got his, Johnny's in like full fucking Jack Sparrow cosplay.
Yeah, he is.
I was just thinking how, like that seems to me, just watching that clip, it's just a fun thing for them, I'm sure. That's how Johnny Depp got into it. They all party together at the fucking Rainbow or the Viper Room.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I want to be in your band. Like, all right, fucking, you're Johnny Depp. Why not? Like,
So before, you got any shows coming up?
I don't. I am working on a review of this band called Oxbow.
Okay.
That's on Mike Patton's Ipecac label,
Oh, okay.
which is interesting. But I want to do track of the week.
Okay.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here and kind of sell a band that I discovered because of Brutal Planet called Enforcer.
Nice.
And it's like, I love, so there were so many bands as a kid that I was thinking about it the other day, like, how did I used to discover bands? And a lot of times it was like the album cover would grab me, and I think about like Holy Diver, for example, which is like the first metal album as a kid I ever was gravitated to. Was the album in my dad's in grandma's thing next to the piano that had the evil demon guy on it. And I was like, ooh, what's this? Like, you know, this looks evil. I want to hear this, you know, and then the music is even better.
Yeah.
You know? And so with Enforcer, the other day I was just, you know, we get these emails from labels and stuff. And so I was kind of scanning through some stuff, like looking for content, looking for something to listen to, really good. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what's out now? And I happened through Nuclear Blast stuff and I saw the cover of this Enforcer record and I went, what is that? That is so cool. And so I ended up like, so this is the cover.
That's badass.
I wound up booking an interview with Olaf and their Swedish band. But this song, when I listened to the record, this particular song is called Keep the Flame Alive. It's going to be our track of the week. I thought this was such a cool song because it combines like dance and thrash metal.
That's cool.
In like an organic way. And of all the tracks on this record, and there's a lot of great ones, the very last track is amazing. The whole thing is good. Like it's what's great about it too is it's totally like Stranger Things. Like the cover reminds me of like Stranger Things. It's like it's the 80s noir. It's like it reminds you of, it's reminiscent of bands that you've heard before, but it's not repeating anything. Like it's not unoriginal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has the aesthetic of classic metal, but it's not derivative. Does that make sense? Like it's not.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's listen to just a couple bars of this. And I'm sure like the way that YouTube works, just so you know, and most people know this that are probably watching, they'll give you a copyright strike. And it's up to the artist to be like, oh, it's okay if they played this clip or whatever. And then like sometimes they'll block your clip completely. They'll take your content down if it's like a real strict one. But in the case with music, most of the time, like the artist allows you to share clips of it. So it's,
well, listen, I mean, is it the artist or is it the label?
The label. I mean, yeah. But whoever's manning the copyright request, right? So we get them too. People like, because we have copyrighted material, and like when people clip our content, we get notices now. Like people clip our concert footage a lot, like and use it in other videos, which is great. Like I'm all for it because it's there's 1,000 different camera, you know, angles and that stuff. But anyway, the other thing I just noticed, and we can talk about this off stream later, but now that we're kind of like in the program with YouTube and stuff, you can pay for copyright. So like you can actually pay like a fee and get like that way. Basically, you're paying royalties and you can use copyrighted music because you're like paying for the rights to use it. So we can eventually do that too. Like,
so it's not like a single pay, or it's a single pay. It's
YouTube is smart. They went like, hey, we have a problem. We're going to solve it. Like a bunch of people are using clipped content. How do we make sure that the artists who created that content get a royalty? And that's how they do it. So you pay like a
so it's per use then.
It's the way that YouTube works it. I think it's like a monthly fee or something that blankets everything. Okay. It's like, okay, if you want copyright ability, like if you pay like $9.99 a month, I bear in mind, I'm just making this shit up, so don't take this as gospel. But it's something like to that effect where if you're pumping out a lot of content, they have like a package or something that you can buy into that allows you to use clip content to some degree. I mean, there's some stuff that you're not allowed to use at all, but like, for the most part, you can, they'll, which is good. I mean, I like, that's how it should be. Like artists, the internet should be a free for all, like, but artists should also get credit and money for their material, their original material. Like I love that it's evolving to that level. So anyway, listen to a couple of seconds of listen to a little bit of the intro of this song because this is so cool.
It's like a full-on dance.
Yeah.
And it kicks into These guys jam. It sounds very European.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was just watching this thing with. Hold on. I don't want to check this out. So anyway, great song, great album. People should check it out. I
I mean,
would.
it's cool how because the very first of it sounds almost like like an 80s kind of a movie soundtrack, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
a
then
lot of it has that. The opening track on that album has like a synth, like a people would call it vaporwave,
yeah.
like a 80s like synth like thing. It's so brilliant. Like, and this band has been Olaf has been putting out music since 2004. They're 20 years, and he's not much young. He's a little bit younger than I
Yeah.
am, but not a lot. And so I mean, I was really impressed with him and a lot of these guys. And it's funny because listening to that now, my son and I watched this show yesterday with. Do you have ever heard of Max Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Another Swede.
Yeah.
But this guy, we saw this clip from The Economist about how they had this data. It was all about data, and they're like, we have this data set of like Billboard top songs, and Max Martin factors in so high because he's like the producer with like the most #1 Billboard hits. And so we were watching this kind of like TED Talk with Max Martin, and it was so interesting. He was talking about songwriting, and then they were like showing how back in the day, it would be like 20 or 30 seconds before you'd get to the hook of the song. And then over time that kind of shortened in pop music. Like now it's like 10 seconds. And so when I listened to this song, Keep the Flame Alive, if I was Olaf's management, I would release that as a single because it has all these characteristics. The first time I heard it, I went, that's different. It stood out on the album. And then I remembered it. Like later in the night, I was like, dun, 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 dun. I was like singing the melody to that riff in my head.
Yeah.
And that's a good quality. Like if the song is like instantly recognizable, and it goes back to something else, it ties into something James was talking about yesterday when I was doing the stream with his. He was talking about how riffs, and Tony Iommi was the king of riffs.
Mm-hmm.
And James he said something so profound to me. He's like, in rock, if you don't have a good riff, you don't have a good song.
Exactly.
Like that is so profound. It's like, yeah, that's it. That's another reason Metallica is so massive, because it's like all about the riffs.
Well, you talk about getting to the hook in 30 seconds and now having to do it in 10. That's kind of like our society, man. We just can't wait for anything, you know.
Instant gratification.
Yeah. And it sucks because you miss out on so much shit.
Well, and it's also, me and Dryden were talking about this yesterday because he's getting into audio production, and so I'm kind of like, you know, giving him what knowledge I have. And the thing that's cool about metal specifically is I've always been drawn to challenging music, but metal, I think the construction of metal songs is closer to classical music, where pop music is much more simplified and dumbed down. To your point, like, don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah.
Get to the good part, where a classical piece is like all these dynamics and like kind of like a push and pull and a build up to this like peak, you know, and it's more of a journey, I guess. And some people just don't want, I mean, I understand, as someone who loves music, I like different music for different reasons, you know, like I love funk and soul music, especially because it just, you know, like I can put on like a James Brown record or like a Sly Stone record and just like relax, and it's just like easy melody and good like vibe. But then like sometimes I want audio coffee, like I want to get up in the morning and listen to Black Dahlia Murder, and it's just like yeah, you know. So that's what's beautiful about music.
Well, I had one more thing I wanted to talk about before Madeline and Rickard come on.
Yeah, we got like 8
Can they will they just show up on our stream, by the way?
Yeah. Yesterday when I was doing this, Kenny came on as Bonnie because he was using his wife's account.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, for a second, I was like, did I get hacked? I was like, is someone on here that shouldn't be? Because he was like 10 minutes early too.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when they come on, I'll just
Okay.
they'll be right on stream.
So yesterday I was listening to a podcast, and it was a political podcast, and it was the guy that was on there, his name was Jay Nordlinger, and he's a political columnist. But that all that beside, he's also a classical music reviewer. And he was talking about on this podcast, he was talking about how he hates the fact when he sees classical, like symphonies have to go behind like an Elvis impersonator, or they have to. And another one he gave an example of was playing Def Leppard music, with an orchestra. And he was not having any of it. And I was like, dude, he's like, don't dumb it down for the masses. He's like, classical music should be for like some kind, like an elite kind of people, you know what I mean, that only can get classical music. You have to get classical music to like it, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, no, man, I totally disagree with you, because to me, I got introduced to classical music by listening to Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you don't have any idea. The crossover is what gets people into it.
I mean, the thing, just to tie again back to something I was talking about yesterday, the thing that's beautiful about music is that there are no rules. It's infinite. It's like I had a fork in the road in my youth where I was like, do I want to pursue athletics or do I want to do music? And I mean, I would be much better off financially if I had pursued athletics and like gone into the college and done the office business route. But do I regret it? No. Like the world of music is so much more. There's so much, it's infinite. There's infinite possibilities. And that's what I love about it. So like when people come in and try to say like, oh, it needs to be this way and only this way, even if I don't like the other way, I'm like,
that's
fuck
what
you.
I
Like
thought.
People should be able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
so I just to me, I guess it just irritated me, because I don't think by you adding something to it to entice other people to come to it is dumbing it down.
No. Well, so good example. Joey and I did a countdown of our favorite 90s records. And I didn't know that Joey was like super Christian. I mean, I'm definitely not Christian, but he likes a lot of the same bands I like. And it was interesting because one of my top bands was Mr. Bungle. And so we both, like, after that, like, I went and listened to some of the records he really likes. Like Shinedown has some good stuff that I had never heard before. Living Sacrifice was one of his bands. Like, he's way into Zao too, which I love Zao. So I totally get that. But I like Mr. Bungle. He was like, he listened to it and he's like, yeah, definitely. He's like, that's too weird for, he's like, this is circus music on acid. I'm like, yeah, that's what I love about it. But the thing is, I said this to Joey and I said this in my review of it. The best music to me is the music that repulsed me the first time I heard it, because it made me uncomfortable. It made me go, whoa. Like all the best music, even Pantera, even like Vulgar Display of Power. The first time I heard that, I like winced. I was like, "What is that? That is heavy." And then it became my favorite shit, because it expanded my, caught me off guard and like expanded my horizons really. So
then once you hear that, then your door is wide open.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's the same thing with like classical music and symphony music, man. Once and it'll be interesting because Elaine uses a lot of that symphonic stuff in their music, which is a gateway to so many other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to the ethics again too, and just the aesthetics. Did I tell you about and maybe we should wait to talk about this till they're on, but there's this episode of Mythbusters that my brother told me about where they play music for plants.
Oh yeah, you did.
I'm sure I've talked about it.
Yeah,
I need to I found the clip a while ago and I should have saved it or screen recorded it or whatever.
Yeah.
But the basic premise is they deprive plants of light and stuff and they play music for them. And the ones that get the tallest are the ones that they played metal and classical for.
Yeah.
So I think that says something about maybe it's the scales that are used, because
a
lot of the same types of scales, like the pentatonic scales and different types of scales that are used in metal guitar solos and metal riff patterns are directly derived from classical music.
Dude, down here you're getting deep. You're getting way deep. The past pentatonic scales and shit like that.
Pentatonic, yeah. I'm just trying to buy time while we until these guys come on, but
they should be on any second now.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions to ask them, and I listened to some of the new stuff. I didn't go as deep as I would have liked to. I usually like to really dive into an artist catalog before I talk to them, but
yeah,
I've heard enough of their stuff. I kind of know it'll be in. And again, a lot of times for me, talking to these people makes me more interested in their music. I went back and listened to a bunch of Fifth Angel stuff again after I talked to Ken the other day.
Yeah.
And dude, there's a song, I think I sent it to you. That might be the next track of the week on that Fifth Angel record called On Wings of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
That another, of all the songs on that record just stuck out to me that I went, oh wow, that's a cool riff and hook and very Priest.
Yeah, I remember when they came out in the late 80s, man. I just had that song called Time Will Tell. It was on MTV a little bit, and man, they were good. That's
the name of the album too.
Yeah.
That's the title track. There they are.
How's it going, guys?
There they are.
Hey. Nice to see you, Eric.
Good to see you guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm Dustin.
Nice to meet you, Dustin.
also of Swedish descent.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're cousins, and so our grandfather came. You and I, three of us have talked about it. Came from Sweden. Our grandfather did.
Göteborg.
Yeah.
Gothenburg.
Americans would call it Gothenburg.
Yeah.
His mom's side of the family was from Malmo.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's not far away. Yeah. That's very cool.
And I think we talked about the Malmo side of the people kind of want to still kind of be. Is it Danish?
No.
What?
It's gonna be it.
You guys have to educate
I don't
us.
think we can speak for everyone, but
they were talking about how they have a festival where they dig their shovels into the ground and
well, that's I believe that's the
rest of Sweden.
Yeah, those from Stockholm drive down to Malmo to dig.
Yeah.
Oh, to separate them from them.
It's a fun joke. Yeah. Super fun.
It is
oh my
fun,
god, yeah.
Hilarious.
The jokes, and we plant our potatoes there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's your guys' area. You're in Skåne, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Malmo is 40 minutes away by car. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's so good to see you guys.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Of course.
Sure,
so
man.
thank you for having us. It's getting pretty late here actually, so I hope it won't get too dark. I think we have a ring light, so yeah.
You guys got plenty of light behind you, man.
Yeah, just give us a little heads up just in case, because now it goes pretty fast. It is 9:30 here in the evening.
Does it?
We were good with that.
Yeah, I think so. Just give us a head up.
Well, hopefully you're drinking some wine and not water, and so it'll make everything will go a little smoother and.
It's good water.
Oh, okay.
I don't drink.
Well, it's too early for me to drink because it's only 12. Well, it's 1:30 here, so.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having us.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
I was going to ask you guys, do you have any festivals in Sweden this summer?
Yeah, we have one in Sweden. Will most likely be way more next year. So yeah. This is it will be good for us, this one actually. Yeah. And then we have the tour coming up in Europe supporting pain. So we're focusing on that right now. So next year, I'm sure will be like festival season for us.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Will you guys get over to the States anytime soon?
They were
Well,
just
we were just there actually
Oh.
for the first time. It went very well, and we really
Yeah.
hope to be back. I mean, we have the visas and
Yeah.
all, and it was a great experience.
We were there April, right?
April to May.
April to May,
a
exactly.
month. Yeah.
And sure, I mean, we're aiming to come back as soon as possible, you know. So keep your eyes open, dude, at the tour tab on the Elaine.com.
Yeah, where you're located, by the way. You're
I'm in the
different-
LA area.
LA.
Hey.
Yeah. We played there at the 1720, I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah,
called.
Oh, okay. I've been there.
It was really good.
And I was going to mention, I did not make it to a show. It killed me, but I was going through some serious personal stuff, divorce.
Eric.
So the closest show to me was Denver, so it was like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
dude,
But
that
Distances.
that was some high mountain air also in Denver. Jesus. Everyone was like, fuck me, I got cotton mouth. It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sitting here smoking weed on stream, so I'm in California. It's like I smoke my
You
stuff
go high.
everywhere I go.
Yeah, high mountaineer, man. Speaking about cotton mouth, dude.
So I wanted to ask you, as far as the United States tour how did it go? I mean, did you feel like you saw a lot of the Legion there, and then you introduced a lot of people to the Legion?
Oh yeah,
Both.
definitely both
sure.
of those
Nice.
things.
Nice.
And we had people that have been waiting for like years to see us, supporting on Patreon and whatnot, and just sticking in there, you know, hoping like one day.
Yeah.
And then we just dropped that, and they were like, oh my God. So it was really, really great to meet those that you had contact with for so many years.
Yeah, and that has been supporting us that much.
Exactly.
Also, and being such a big part of making it even possible to do the North American tour.
Yeah, I mean, like next year we're celebrating a decade of Elaine. And so like we're fairly still quite considered a young band as such. And just the massive support we've had for years is amazing. We're so grateful to everyone that supports Elaine. Without our fans, without our Elaine Legion, there would be no Elaine.
So I was
quality
first
music,
introduced
too.
to you guys in 2018. You guys played at the Sabaton Open Air, and that's when I like fell in love with you, and I started contacting you, sent you some of my pictures from the show, and we just like we've stayed in constant contact since then. And every time you have an album out, we do an interview. I do, you know, it's all I can do to just promote you guys here in the States.
Truly appreciate it.
That can make it all the difference also, and to us it means a lot. So thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah,
as always.
As far as the States go, was this your first time in the States?
Yes.
Correct.
So what did you have any time to like immerse yourself into a little bit of the culture of the US?
Barely.
Yeah.
Culture of the US.
Well, I mean, it's so much different culture, you know what I mean?
It is insanely different in so many ways, I gotta say. But we did 23 gigs over 25 days, and the distances between the gigs were long. But I do know that we had 2 travel days, so it wasn't really days off, you know. But we had travel days, and we got to experience Walmart in New Orleans, you know, at 7, 8 p.m. in the evening. That was really interesting. I can tell you.
Oh,
That's American culture.
That's great.
So that is funny. The funny part about that is I was just going to ask you, was there any part of the US that you were excited about? Like just little things like seeing nerds or nerds candy or going to a Target or a Walmart. And that's when you just mentioned.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned like seeing nerds, because he's talking about the candy. So I am very much into, like, ever since I was a kid, like American pop culture. It was always around me. I watched like international TV at home, and so it was fun to see those candies and whatnot,
real life.
and everything. Yeah, it's super cool. But like for the we like, as Madeline said, we didn't have time to go out to explore stuff. So being in LA was really cool because I saw a lot of where they filmed Terminator 2.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's
So
pretty
The
cool.
mall
I
that they
mean,
shot that
weird.
at, they tore down. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the canals and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
like,
the LA River, as it's called.
let's go. Reload the shot with one hand. Get down,
He-
get that.
that
let's
was-
go.
That was before he became governor too.
Oh yeah, way before. Way before.
No, it was very cool to experience some of these things. And oh, the donuts in Portland. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Voodoo Donuts.
Oh, Voodoo
Voodoo Donuts,
Donuts?
yeah.
Hello. It's almost like I'm grateful they're not around the area here because that would be dangerous. That
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
be possible.
Yeah,
But
It's
Voodoo
probably
is-
banned in Europe. Most poisonous food is banned in Europe.
I felt
Oh,
great.
it's nice, you know, jelly
really
and
good.
sugar.
Yeah, and the occult bookshop just across the street as well in Portland. There were so
Okay.
many small things here and there. That was like it
What's
was
going
a
on with mine?
fun experience, you know.
What about like roller food? Did you have any roller food? Is what we call it.
Roller food. What's
Yeah,
Yeah,
that?
it's like you go to the gas station and they've got the food on the wheels that sit there and turn.
Oh fuck no, no food
Does
poisoning.
people
No.
eat that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What
Why
Eric's
the
asking is,
hell?
did you guys escape the US without getting diabetes?
No diabetes, we're doing well, but I gotta say it was a little bit too much of salt in some of the things that I
Yeah.
ate on a daily basis. It got me a little scared actually. I was like, the sodium levels here? What's up? You know?
Yeah, that's quite ironic because you always hear, "Gotta watch out for that sodium," and there's fucking salt in everything. And yeah, by the way, it's not diabetes, it's diabetes, right?
Diabetes.
Right? Diabetes.
I was joking with Eric that I feel like at least 75 to 80% of Sweden are rock stars who just, you know, tour Europe or tour the US like half the year and then spend the rest of the year in the fjords. 'Cause like every band we've talked to is Swedish. I'm just like, does anyone there work in an office or anything?
Yeah, right.
I think
know what
it's
you mean.
like a little bit of the other way around, right?
Yeah, but
Really?
we do. We have so many bands though. Like
Yeah.
the music export from Sweden is insane, and especially with metal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
rock and metal. And it's just such a weird thing that we have such a huge export, but then the actual scene in the country isn't that big. It is just like if Swedes don't really appreciate what they have until it's too late, you know, when it's like, ooh, it's arenas and Sweden Rock Festival, then they're going out, you know.
I
You
was
know, that almost proves my theory though, because everyone there is like, oh, we don't want to rock out right now. We're like on vacation right now. We're
no,
taking a
but that
break.
was what I was going to say, that it's not that a lot of people in Sweden are musicians, but a lot of musicians are Swedes.
Yeah.
So it's the other way around there. I mean, man, there are a lot of people that can't hold a note in Sweden. I can tell you that. So, but there are a lot of lovers of music. So it's very fun that, like that, as you said, Melon, that the scene itself isn't that big in Sweden, but we have a huge number of people that enjoy that music.
Yes.
And they would want that scene, but Sweden is like, no. And
yeah, it's a little bit too much pop culture, you know, nowadays, you know, but it is what it is. I'm sure it will come back at some point.
All
when
music is good music anyways.
People are noticing how much people like the Sweden Rock Festival actually attracts, right? You cannot just deny that. So
Correct.
I feel positive that one day maybe we can make it back to the more commercial radio stations. Who knows? Maybe not Elaine, you know, pretty heavy, but still.
Well, yeah, you never know. As you say, don't close that door.
No,
and
right?
all good music
Yeah.
is good music. That is
Yeah.
what was
Yeah.
what I was
Exactly.
going to say.
Who would have thought Slipknot would be as big and as long lasting as they've been? You know, it's like
Exactly.
anything's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, legendary level at this point, you know.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Great songs too, like heavy stuff, but also some
Yeah.
really great like hooky songs.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Oh, definitely.
Exactly.
Dustin just talked to yesterday. Was it who was you talked to yesterday?
Oh, Typo Negative. You guys ever heard of Typo
Yeah.
Negative?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, the guitar player from Typo Negative, Kenny Hickey, he has a band with the guys from Crowbar. It's really
really?
cool, like sludgy, doomy type stuff, but with melodic voice, you know, not the
Oh,
barking.
really? What's the name of the band,
Yeah.
by the way?
It's called I Am, EYE AM, and they just put one song out, but they're working. And it's funny you mentioned New Orleans, because that's where the Crowbar guys are from. And
Oh,
the
really?
kid is from New York, so they're kind of like New Orleans meets New Orleans type thing.
Very cool. Gonna look it up actually.
And then he talked to the guy from Enforcer, another Swedish.
Oh yeah, Olaf.
Yeah.
That's why I was talking about everyone in Sweden's a rock star, because I talked to Olaf from Enforcer, and he's been doing it for 20 years, and I just heard of that band. They're great.
Yeah, we have shitloads of great bands. That is the thing. We're super proud.
I believe there must be something in the water, man.
Yeah. Swedish veins.
Yeah, that's why,
Water.
taking it.
Drink the water.
I'm representing my Swedish brother Hokoff.
Yeah, Hulkov.
Yeah.
Super great.
It's not just metal too. Like there's a lot of other good stuff that comes out of Sweden. The Knife, like a really popular electronica band, and Refused.
Friggin' ABBA.
Yeah, ABBA. Hives as well.
The Hives.
Many good bands.
The Cardigans.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweaters, t-shirts.
Yeah.
Jackets.
Who's the
Ski muffs.
who's the guy that just did the was it E-Type?
Yeah,
He just
E-Type.
did the metal band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dustin, you got to look up E-Type, man. He's like this total pop dude, and he just came out with a metal album a couple years ago.
He's actually a total metal dude.
Yeah, he is, but he is the 90s,
He is the 90s.
He represents the 90s for us. Yeah. It's insane, actually.
Like, this lyric has stuck with me since the 90s. Something's holding me back like a wild boar attack. I should be there by I'm not. He's
a legend.
It's brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys just finished a European tour with Camelot too. How was that?
Yeah, that's right. That was just before the North American tour.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah. And in between, we filmed a music video.
And waited for our visas.
Oh my god!
And who was singing female vocals for Tommy in the Camelot set?
This round here right now, it is Melissa Bonney.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. It's Melissa.
Yeah.
And you had Myrith on there with you too?
Yeah, correct.
Nice.
It was great to meet all of the fans there as well. I mean, we noticed that Elaine has grown exponentially.
Yeah,
and there are a lot of people there on the European roads that really just like it basically exploded what we could see, because we also released We Are Legion when we headed out on that tour, and people were just like smashing, just singing along, really pumping that vibe. And that's a beautiful thing to see, that people find so much unity and community within what we bring and put out there. It's just so empowering also. Man, I'm so grateful.
And then I can't go without mentioning probably a huge thing for you guys was opening up for Nightwish in Stockholm, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
We had the pleasure to be invited as special guest. We had Art Nation opening the evening, and I gotta say, one thing that was very beautiful to see, especially in Sweden also, where people like to pre-party a lot, it is a thing. All Swedes hearing this, you know what I mean, and you're like, pre-party and let's go for the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
But it was full house when the opening act, Art Nation, started.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell is happening? Like the promoters were like, is this really happening?
Yeah. And the audience was on it.
Yeah, they were. And when we entered the stage, it was one of the highlights in our careers. It was an absolutely beautiful crowd. They were so on it. They sang along, and the ones that hadn't seen us or heard about us or, whatever, they just embraced it. And it was a beautiful evening. It was insanely good.
And of course, Nightwish just bam. It was great. Their performance. Everyone did a great performance. And I believe, this is cheesy, but I'm going to do it, the best performance was from the audience. Oh my God. They brought the heat.
Plus points.
Yeah, thank you. But the fun thing here is that last week we were in Germany at the EMP stores to do a session tour for our upcoming album that is released this Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Remain, and there was this family that drove down from Stockholm who had seen us at the Nightwish gig.
To Dortmund.
Yeah,
right?
to Dortmund.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's pretty far.
So they drove down and they were like, hey, what's up? You know, it was beautiful. It's beautiful. And they took this opportunity to go out on a little trip with the family, you know, and just like meet the band that they enjoyed so much.
Yeah, it was
It's
beautiful.
great.
I've got to believe though that you guys have some been influenced by Nightwish quite a bit, right?
Honestly,
No.
no. I have
Really?
actually never really listened to Nightwish. No,
No.
I remember
Really?
I heard Over the Hills and Far Away when I was 13.
Yeah.
Then I fell into Dimmu Black and death metal, and
Yeah,
that has
yeah,
been my way,
okay.
you know. So no, actually, I have never actually listened to symphonic metal.
Wow.
Our influences when it comes to symphonic like arrangements and that kind
Yeah.
of style is completely from movies and soundtracks. We are big
Yeah.
fans of Hans Zimmer, for an example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I do understand that some might think that, okay, you're like influenced by this, but no, it's not. And I think that if you dig a little deeper in how our music is, you can actually hear the influences that are everything from death metal to grunge and thrash, especially. We're a bit more riff based as a band in the symphonic metal genre than I think many others are. And I think it really shows a little bit more on these two previous albums, Dancing in Hell and We Shall Remain.
Oh, definitely. And that's not taking away that Nightwish are great musicians,
Really
great
good.
musicianship,
They're really
killer
good.
songs and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Madeline said, it really hasn't been an inspiration. Me neither. I haven't really listened to them like that. I of course appreciate their music, but growing up I didn't listen to it. And so yeah, I was more into Madeline was more into black, right?
Yeah, and death metal.
Black and death metal. I was more like thrash metal and grunge and stuff like that. And you know, growing up with old video games, forget about Mega Man. Come on, that's metal.
Yeah.
You know, Transformers in the 80s, the theme there. Come on, metal everywhere.
And Doom.
Yeah.
Doom, yeah. Metallica on a video game, you know.
Yeah.
So
Video
let's talk
games
about
are
the new
huge.
album then. A little bit. Like I've been listening to it. So to me, the last album, I just want to give my thoughts on it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or right or anything, whatever. I see this album as a progression from Dancing in Hell. Like Dancing in Hell felt like being in hell and just trying to survive and live with being in hell, whereas We Shall Remain is almost celebrating coming out of the depths of hell and living life to the fullest.
Yeah, I would say that is pretty spot on. And it wasn't intentional. That is the
No,
thing.
no, no.
You know, we just write about what we experience and what we feel, and what is coming out is what's coming out, you know. And it's very interesting that you just actually pinpointed it that well, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is what happened, and that is how it is. So yeah.
And I feel like the song We Are Legion pretty much just encapsulates that whole thing right there.
Yeah. That's a great tune. I'm gonna throw in also Not Forgetting the Battles.
Exactly.
To-
Exactly.
To
Yeah.
deal with the aftermath of it all. Because if you like everyone has their own personal hell. Like some seem to think that it needs to be really like you're on your fucking knees, you're gonna die. But personal hell is personal hell regardless of level. It's your thing. Don't try to like dampen it. It's your thing. And for some it's like crawling on your knees, of course. And getting through that, getting past that, surviving that and growing from that. It like if you just kick back and relax and forget about it, it's going to happen again. So it's like remembering the battles, also remembering everything and growing from that, facing forward, you know. And
see so many that is trying to bury what they have been through.
Oh, yeah.
That is not the way to deal with things. That is just how I've learned the last couple of years. You know, it's, as you said, then it will repeat itself most likely, or you're living this fake happy life where it will always be like a fucking ghost in the back of your head.
It's like keeping a very big secret, you know.
It is, and it's not good in the long run. So I mean, that is why we wrote songs like Promise of Apocalypse and Suffering on this album.
Exactly.
They're like more into depth in what it comes to the actual topic that we're talking about right now. Like actually accepting what you have been through and work from there to see the progress. You know, it is totally fine to, you know, just accept and see that you have actually made a progress.
Oh yeah,
That's the thing.
definitely.
I'm so
And
sorry.
it's great that you mentioned We Are Legion, because that song, I mean, it is, as you say, I believe you, all right, am I right or wrong? You feel that is a very empowering song, like just chugging along.
Yeah.
Right. Nailed it. And that song is actually to our fans, to our Legion.
Nice.
Like the Elaine fans call themselves the Elaine
The
Legion.
Legion,
They
yeah.
started that, and we were like, "This is freaking cool."
So cute.
And we wanted to give them a song. So when we started to work on this, like Madeline, you say you're a sucker for riffs.
I am. It was such a great riff. I fucking loved it. And I was like, yeah, it just came so naturally. Yeah. Like I felt empowered when I heard it, you know?
Me too. Me
Like,
too. And
yes.
it just kept chugging along, and we were like, this is it. You know, this is the song to the Elaine Legion. This is it. And you should see them like on the Nightwish gig, especially this happened there. The intro, da 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 da. They fucking sang it full voice. It was awesome.
Nice.
It was so empowering for both
Nice.
us and them, and that is what it's all about, that give and take, that unity, the community, the empowerment. It was beautiful.
Nice.
The audience was singing the guitar riff.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's this part in
awesome.
the beginning. I love that. And it's like, it is something you have been imagining, like, oh, imagine if people would sing that. Da, 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 da. And they did. You know, it's just like, yes. The battle hymn starts, so let's fucking slay, you know?
Nice.
I love
That's
it.
powerful.
And see, that song reminds me a lot of one of my favorite Elaine songs, which is Ava of Death. I love
Oh,
you know, they're very similar in their way they open up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chug your riffing.
Yeah.
They're like cousins, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is that I love that kind because it's very empowering. Like if we're going to work on a very bad Monday morning, just put it on and just embrace the empowerment that it can actually bring, you know. But it's also very good to get all pumped up, you know, if you're going to a concert or a gym or whatever.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's so for me, it's so important to have these kinds of songs that makes you feel like I got this, you know.
What Dustin, I thought you had a question too, you wanted to ask too.
No, I was just commenting on how cool it is that the audience was singing the guitar riff. That's powerful.
It is beyond comprehension the first time it happens. It's like me myself, I'm self-taught guitarist also, like, and people singing along. It's just so beautiful, something that we created.
Yeah, just like when they sing along in the songs.
Sing along in the song, the lyrics and everything. Yeah. Remember the first time we played Enemies? Söderteatern?
Yeah.
Like we played Enemies at this gig in a place in Stockholm called Söderteatern, and that was the same day the song was released.
Yeah.
And they sang the thing, the little lick I do in that was just crazy.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, the whole album, you know, just it's easily the heaviest Elaine album. You know, it's
thank you.
To me, I thought Dancing in Hell was darker, but this one is more heavy, you know, and I think part of that is rising up from the chaos and celebrating your past and embracing your future. And that heaviness comes out in that way.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. And as Madeline said, like Promise of Apocalypse and Suffering, you're like glancing back over to the darkness of Dancing in Hell. So that's very, I mean, this is very interesting because we haven't really thought about it this way that you're laying it out right now. So because we only create what feels right. And that just goes to show that, hey, that's a good point. Yeah, I fucking agree. So it's very, correct.
And see, for me, I take personal note in this because we've talked about this before, but I'm a cancer conqueror. So I've been through the hell. And part of going through the hell is after you come out of the hell, you look back at the hell and you leave it behind,
Hmm.
but you don't forget it, but you embrace the future, and you learn to live every day like it's your last.
Yeah.
That is
exactly.
the world we knew transition there from Dancing in Hell.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautifully laid out. And we're
so
happy you're with
you
us,
just,
man.
you just have to go one day at a time, and tomorrow's not promised,
No,
Right.
exactly.
so you can't say that. And so, like, a song like Through the Mist, love that song, man. I just love,
Thank you.
Thank you.
just such
It's also like a reminder of the unity, that it's so very important to just keep continuing forward. Some days it is insanely hard, very, very hard to see, even if there's a bright light somewhere, but it is just so important to have these kinds of songs that keeps you going, like a reminder.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I was listening to or I was reading an interview with you, Rickard, and it was talking about how you were just not too long ago, or well, I might have been a little bit longer, but you were diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah, correct.
And how do you think that influenced your musical style and playing music?
A great question. All right. So let's tear it down. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 35, right? 34, 35.
I think we're around 33, 34.
Really? Well,
a couple of years ago.
Like 4 years ago. Let's say 4 years ago. And like not medicated up until the point, of course, and not medicated after. So I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say how it has impacted my style. It's really hard to say. I couldn't say anyway, actually. It's
more about like rediscovering yourself,
oh,
and many
yeah, I can go
things
down
make
that
sense,
road. I can go down that road. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because
Like, when I was diagnosed with ADHD, it's like it's a relief, and it's also you have to reconnect with yourself and find yourself again. It's like getting to know yourself anew, because so much stuff makes sense suddenly. It's like all of those times people are like so ADHD, there are those that don't have the hyper thing and they still call it ADHD, but I really have the hyper thing.
that is called ADD.
No. No, it's
Okay.
true. It's true. I know ADD and I know ADHD without the hyper itch. It's another genre of it. So anyways, I really have hyper. And like all of the times people calm down, settle down, just squeezing that, constricting that, and like the social filter stuff and stuff like that, man. Many stuff just made sense, and like it's a lot deeper than many talk about. Like it's about the body dysmorphia and stuff like that. I had anorexia, battled through that with undiagnosed ADHD, had no idea what was going on. So like,
and also being denied by other people,
also being denied,
actually not being accepted, and them confirming or acknowledging most of all who you are as a person, like there's nothing to be ashamed of if you have a diagnosis. That is the thing, it's something that is an explanation of why you are you and how you are functioning as a human being. And if there is some help to receive, that is great, But it really comes down to okay, this is me and this is how I work. It's not an excuse, it's a reason.
And
right?
If you find something that is over and over and over again hard for you to do in association with others, if you need them, you need to find a way to work around it. You need to work on yourself also. So it's not like an open road. You can do the ADHD thing.
No.
You need to all right, I got to learn this. This is not acceptable. All right, why? I understand why. let's work on that.
It made it better for us to work with each other also, because now we understood, all the things, and I got some tools as well. I learned a lot about your diagnosis.
Definitely.
And we found ways to work, together. So it did help a lot.
Yeah, and like seeing how it has affected my style of creating, I have no idea. I've always created the same way I've always
I think
done.
you've just continued, but maybe I would say that it has been with a little bit more of a self-confidence actually in the past years actually.
Yeah, I've landed a lot.
Yeah.
I've spent so many years masking. So even after the diagnosis, I still held on to that insecurity of keeping the mask. And but with music, with creating, it's always been with going with the flow. Really, really just going with the flow wherever it takes me, man. And as you can, Madeline really knows what she's talking about also.
Isn't it amazing though, once you find it out, the pieces start to come together and they go into the spot and you go, oh, that's why this happens. That's why I do this. Now it all makes sense. It's like you start.
You might be hyper focused because of that condition on like how you write riffs or something. It's interesting because it could be a big part of what makes you unique as an artist, in the same way that like Tony Iommi cut his finger off, and that's what gave him his unique guitar style.
Yeah, like definitely the hyper focus thing, and also like it goes to the extent, maybe that's why, Madeline. So when I write riffs, right, I just go with the flow, hyper focus with it. So I'm loads better than I actually am at that moment, and I create something like, oh, this is kick ass, and I record it, and all right, I leave.
I love it,
and then I come back, and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to play this? I have no idea.
I'm sorry for laughing, but it has happened so often. He's like, how the hell am I playing this? And he has to like relearn what he has created. I love that.
Some stuff is beyond my capability even. I'm like, how the fuck, I need to start practicing, which I never do anyways. But I was leaning into this because you might have noticed that Madeline seems to talk about she seems to know a lot about this subject and also getting diagnosis, and you have something also there.
You have a question for me?
No, I want to lift forward that I have a diagnosis. I got my diagnosis late in life, and it's been rough. It's been hard. And Madeline also has something to share there.
Yeah, well, it is because I got my diagnosis last year. I was searching for help in 2021, I believe. I was severely depressed, and that was even before the pandemic. And I basically called for help because I couldn't see any future anymore. I just said that, I'm sorry guys, you gotta help me. I don't know. I cannot deal with life anymore. I have so much to live for. I have beautiful fans, beautiful family. I have everything, but I suffered from a very traumatic experience back in 2019, and I just couldn't get away from it. I couldn't get up on my feet, and I searched for help, and it was very interesting. I searched for help because I couldn't deal with life anymore myself, and I came out on the other side with a diagnosis that was apparently very obvious to the professional people. So I got the high functional autism, and as you said, Eric, what was it that you said? Something about accepting and so many things making sense.
Pieces come together, you go, oh, this makes sense why I do this. And
exactly. It totally makes sense. I was severely bullied in school, and I have made peace with it. I will never accept it, but I know why. That is the thing. Before I had no idea, but now I know why. I just want to be quiet and be on my own. The people who are insecure, they cannot handle silence. That is the thing. And so much just made sense. And in this year, from the diagnosis until now, I just noticed how much I have learned about myself, but also life in general. It has been massive. It's very interesting.
And I don't mean, the reason I brought this up with you, Rickard, is because I know that you've been strong about it. And so to me, it's important that I love to hear the story, and I love for everybody to hear the story, because then they might not be afraid to deal with it themselves. You know what I mean? It's easier to deal with if you know somebody, or somebody you love, like, I love this person's music, and look, they deal with this, I can deal with it. You know what I mean? And the same with you, Madeline. Now hearing that, it's like, there might be people out there that hear this that go, wow, if they can do this, I can do it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a part of reality.
It is.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
seeing that and lifting that. I actually appreciate feeling seen in this interview at that specific topic.
Yeah.
And it's an important thing, because many with both autism and ADHD goes into this locked position where, for ADHD, time blindness is a scary thing, man. It's so scary. Like, if I have nothing to do and you're not around, hours can go by and I have no idea what has happened.
Yeah.
Literally, it's so scary.
Yeah. But the very important thing to highlight now when talking about it is that if you're depressed or feel that you need help, whatever it is, there's no shame in searching for help.
No.
I just
Oh, yeah.
cannot stress that enough. There is no shame whatsoever, but I know how hard it can be to pick up the actual phone
It is hard.
and make the call, but I promise it is worth it.
And it will take time
Every time.
sometimes.
It will take time,
Took
but
me
you have to
years.
stand up for yourself, and that really sucks, but you just have to do it, because there is another way.
Yeah. And
it's very important to just highlight.
always get at least a second opinion. If you recognize so much of whatever, ADHD, autism, whatever, if you recognize
Depression.
so much, and they're just like blowing it off, or depression, yes, if they're just blowing stuff off, seek another doctor, psychologist, therapist, and just go over and over, because if you feel something is wrong, my friend.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be wrong. Something's up, you know.
Yeah.
You can pinpoint that, and you can get help.
And you said it right there. There's nothing wrong, because there's nothing wrong with the way you're feeling. It's just it's just something that there is that can be help you feel better.
Yeah. And I'm just grateful that we're living in 2023 where people are receiving diagnosis. Apparently it's very hard to like, my diagnosis is very common, that women in particular are very good at masking this, when men in general are a little bit more obvious when it comes to it. Apparently, I had no idea. But it is a beautiful thing that we're actually living in this time where there's so much knowledge, because I know that there's people looking at this interview right now that will say that, but everyone has a little bit of ADHD. I mean, everyone has something.
God.
No, that is very ignorant to say, my friend. And it's very
It
important to just pinpoint that they have studied so much money and time has gone into studying these things. It is important for us. It really makes sense to us whenever we get a diagnosis. It explains us. And therefore, I can actually tell others that it's not an excuse that I have this, but it's a reason. And I will do my best. You know, I will always do my best. So don't be that guy. You know, everyone has a little bit of ADHD. Don't be that guy.
No.
It's very disrespectful. You know, it's like saying it was better in the past. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It's totally fine. We're living in a great time. We do.
See, I think about it too, because when I was 12, I think it was, I was diagnosed with dyslexia.
Yeah.
And so being diagnosed with dyslexia, it put those pieces together for me, why I mismatched words and why reading was so hard for me. And so it kind of shaped me into a more artistic place, because I had such a hard time on that linear level of being like arithmetic and science and all that kind of stuff, that I shifted it to more to an art based, where I could use my natural mind and my creativity to enhance what I wanted. And that's kind of the reason I got to where I am now, is because I realized that it was going to be a lot of work, and everything I do is a lot of work. But being artistic and photographing animals and photographing concerts and stuff, it gives me that outlet where I can be successful.
Yeah.
Right.
And I gotta ask, Eric, like before you got the actual diagnosis, how many times did you feel stupid?
Oh,
Right?
all the time. All the
I
time.
have felt stupid for 32 years. I've heard so many bad things about myself, and I've doubted myself so insanely much. And in 1 year, I felt that I've been kind of landing in who I am. So I really feel that this album right here is the most important from Elaine so far, because there's so much of us. You know, we have been through so much lately, and it just comes out here. You know, it's a very mature album, so to speak. It really feels like we've been growing into who we are.
Yeah.
You know, and we have accepted everything we have been through, and we're like, we know what we have and who we are. We have nothing to prove. That is the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, it's great to get older. You have less fucks to give, and I love
Exactly.
it.
It's clear in talking to the two of you too, that you both have a very great passion for what you're doing, and you're both very artistically invested in it. And
Thank you.
We are, and it's very appreciated that you say that. We didn't start with this thing to be money grabbers, so to speak. We don't sit down on the Monday and ask ourselves, what should we do to get more famous and make more money? We just want to survive and be able to do what we love the most, because we've seen what difference it can make for other people as well.
Yeah.
So now we know that we carry somewhat of the responsibility as well, and we're very proud to do so, you know? And that is why it's very important to us to stay true to ourselves.
I'm sure the
Definitely.
audience picks up on that. I totally, just in the way you guys were talking about the riffs earlier, you know, you could see the enthusiasm.
Like, oh, good riffing, right?
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Man, some of the tracks on this album is just so fun and difficult to play.
So many riffs.
So
good.
many riffs.
And you're
Dude.
looking back on saying, how the hell did I write? How did I play that?
Dude, I mean, it took forever to learn it again. So
You're doing well, though. You know?
You're
But it's
channeling
always the
something
same.
beyond yourself.
yeah, Satan.
But it's always the same. He does very like intense riffs like that, but also, of course, you need to add vocals on top of it.
Oh my God.
So often he plays a rhythm and sings in another. It's just very weird, but you know, it's your own fault.
I've
But I
done
love
that.
it. I
I've done that
approve.
so many times. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It happened like the latest was actually on both Through the Mist and Never Forget. So we played Never Forget and We Are Legion on the North American tour. And as we said before, we had like 2 weeks between the European tour and North American tour. So we landed exhausted and we recorded a music video. In the meantime, during those 2 weeks and during those during the last week, I gotta hunker down. I gotta rehearse this song. So I was like playing it. Yeah, I remember it. No problem. And then, all right, I'm gonna sing, and I sing in a different rhythm. Oh, great. Super great. Do I look like James Hetfield? No, I do not, my brother. And it was, I imagine that he has the same thing going on there, because some of the things that he does, it's like, hey, holy shit, it's like in the backbone, you know what I mean? With the different rhythms of singing and playing. And I just had to hunker down and learn it again. So that was very
You
challenging.
did well.
Yeah. I believe that is also due to the ADHD, by the way, my friend.
Yeah,
It's like,
there you go.
I'm bored. Let's do something fun.
Yeah.
Let's do something for future Rickard to panic about. Yeah.
Love it.
So the other thing I wanted to mention too is we talked about some of your fellow Swedes and some of your how amazing they are. I know this because I'm pretty good friends, but I'm so happy that you guys got to play on the Live Sin album.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they asked.
Oh,
me, you know,
yeah, that's right.
It's real fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That turned out awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
It's funny because I like listening to, I love it, like when you guys do, when other bands go and guest on other bands' albums.
Mm.
I mean, granted, I already knew you guys, and I was well entrenched in how awesome you guys were. But for somebody to not know you and hear you on a Live Sin album, it's a great way to transition and get, hey, what's this other voice on here? This is really cool. And then they go, oh, that's Elaine. Let's go check them out.
For real, that's something that happens a lot in the rap world that needs to happen more in the metal world.
It is.
Yeah.
But is it just me, or doesn't it feel like when I don't know, Yogi Bear is on Scooby Doo? You know what I mean? It just feels like that. Hey, you're not supposed to be here.
Family Guy.
Yeah, it feels kind of nice though. You're here. It's like, wow, I can go. Cool.
I guess it depends on how well they blend with what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I had never heard of the 69 Eyes or Yerky until I started listening to Live Sin. And I heard her do that cover of Immortal Sin with him. And I went, oh, that guy's got an awesome voice. So I went and I started listening to him. And now I love the dude. And I've talked to him a million times. And it's just so much fun to get introduced to people from the people you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I believe it's a great thing also.
It is.
So, I mean, with the talent you two possess, I would love to see you have that, somebody say, hey, come and do this. And then that opens their door to you guys, and I love it.
Yeah, so Dave Grohl, if you're listening, I'm up for it, buddy.
Yeah, Rammstein. I mean, just call,
Sure.
That would be epic.
There's collab tracks.
There's so many of Rammstein's songs where I feel like, I would love to add that little Oriental vibe to it. That would be just cool.
Definitely.
Anyway, they're doing their thing, and I love it. One can dream.
So anyway, I just wanted to tell you how awesome I thought that was.
Really
you guys
appreciate
played on that track. So
thank you.
Thanks.
Truly.
I wanted to ask you too, do you guys have, like, when you're not playing concerts, do you like to go to concerts?
Both yes and no.
Okay.
Actually, I have a little bit of a problem being surrounded by a lot of people.
I don't blame you.
But I mean, I loved watching Rammstein last year. It was too much people for my taste, though. It's very impressive, but I easily feel like I'm stuck somewhere. But it was very impressive, and I've seen so many really good concerts, like Rotting Christ at the 7,000 Tons of Metal cruise. It was such a good set. So yeah, it's but it doesn't happen too often because it usually clashes in the schedule with our own gigs. That is one of the reasons. But of course, we do enjoy concerts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
nice.
like for me, like I watch shows when we're at a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you usually take the opportunity.
Yeah, take the opportunity. And like when we were out with Arch Enemy in Sweden in 2018, right? It was so good, man.
Yeah, and Creator at 70,000
tons.
So good.
Yeah, and as you said, Rotting Christ, man. Rotting Christ is always a good show. Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so what about like when you guys when you go to I'm trying to remember the name, Gerdlund? Do you ride the rides there?
Oh no, it's like 7 hours away, man.
I know.
I don't do the carousel things. No, it's not my thing.
I can go to the toilet. That's all right.
Yeah, I can buy some. That's totally fine. Yeah, I stay on the ground.
Last year I came over to Sweden, and the last night I was there, I took my daughter and we saw Saxon at that venue.
Gröna Lund.
Yeah, Gröna Lund. And actually Liv and Par came to the show with us.
Hey.
And
nice.
And I was just like, it was the coolest thing to have like roller coasters going around in the background. And when you see a Saxon show, it brings out Saxon fans, and Saxon fans are in denim and leather, and I mean, these young kids, and they got the denim jackets with their patches all over them and stuff, and here they are walking around in this amusement park.
Yeah.
So cute.
Watching Saxon, all Saxoned up, eating cotton candy. That's
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's-
Sure.
Doesn't get much more metal than that, does it?
All right.
Dude, who doesn't like sugar? Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Pour some
Penchant for
sugar on
vomit
me.
is
They can
high.
be talking about.
What? No, Def Leppard.
Yeah, I know. Not Saxon. But
No, right?
In metal
I got so
world.
confused.
No,
Within 2
God, no,
seconds,
no.
I was like, "What?"
No. That was Def Leppard. Like, pour some sugar on me. He wanted the sugar. You know?
Yeah.
of course.
That is
It's all
what he was
about
talking
sugar.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cherry pie. Oh man.
Yeah. That
All these
man
American
really loves
songs.
pie.
No wonder we're so obese.
Yeah.
Wow.
About food.
Oh,
No
he
wonder we have
loves pie.
diabetes, right?
That's why diabetes is so prevalent.
We just sing songs about sugar.
That's a sweet album, man.
Terrible. Terrible.
Well, I appreciate your guys' time, and as you know, it's always awesome to talk to you, and I can't wait for the rest of the world to hear this. We Shall Remain comes out this Friday.
Well, thank you very much.
amazing.
It's always a pleasure talking with you. It's so nice to meet you, Dustin.
You as well. Thank you so much, you guys. It's been great. I'm not as big of a fan as Eric is, so I have to do some homework and dive into your stuff. The stuff I have heard is great. You know, I love the classical tinge symphonic stuff you guys do, and Rickard has some very heavy vocals, and now I got to dive into your riffs though.
Yeah, right?
Hey, dude,
it's
man.
the riffing that makes it for me. Actually, it is. So, but thank you. Often I believe that there's, it's always about the right song at the right time.
Totally.
You know, it's gonna connect. So
I hope to see you guys over here soon too. I wish I had known you were going to be here and Eric wasn't going to cover you guys. I would have tried to come out.
Yeah,
Hey.
but
Next time.
hopefully soon, guys. It would be great. I usually say that we are a live band, actually. So let's hope for the best.
We will be back. my
Yeah.
friend. We
Yeah,
will.
you
be
will.
back.
You
Of
will.
course.
Come on, say it in your best Schwarzenegger.
I'll be back.
Say, we will be back.
Yeah.
We will be back.
I will probably be back, I guess. You know, that is what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'll be back, I guess. Don't go too far.
Well, let's stay in touch, and all the best to you guys. It's amazing talking to you.
Likewise,
Likewise.
man.
Thank you guys so very much.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. So there we go.
Very cool people.
Yeah, very cool people. And to go back onto what they were talking about, man, it's just the mental health thing is so important, man. And I think we'll have when we talk to another Swede soon, Jake from Syra, he's very much into the mental health thing too. And it's an important thing. And so, you know, for me and for all of us, these guys go through the same thing that maybe somebody out there is going through.
Yeah.
They recognize it, they fix it. So can you, you know, and
I've lost a couple friends to suicide. So you know, everyone's fighting a battle too. And it's like some people worse than others. Some people really do need to reach out and get help, you know, and
Yeah.
shouldn't be ashamed of that.
no, it shouldn't be ashamed. And the hard part I didn't mention this, but it's the hard part for guys is we're supposed to be strong, and we're supposed to be, you know, and so it's seen as a sign of weakness if we go to the doctor, and not bullshit. Bullshit.
You're a pussy if you're trying, if you a cry for
Yeah.
help is for pussies
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the good, one of the good things about this day and age, as she said, 2023, is it's like, we don't have to hide behind those walls anymore. You know, it's like everyone's fighting a battle. Everyone's got something. I mean, everyone's dealing with some shit. And if sometimes you just need to hear someone else say, hey man, I go through it too, you know, or, you know, or just tell you like, hey, you know, everything's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Everything's going to work out eventually. It might seem shitty now, but shit's going to be good. You know,
it's interesting because in talking to enough people in the music industry, there's so much to be learned on the mental health side of things. And just me having interviewed people, sometimes I don't know what it is about me, but they just throw it out to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I remember talking to Luna 13, the band Luna 13, and you know, the singer for Luna 13, she was a cutter, and so we talked about her being a cutter and stuff like that. And I mean, that's a huge thing to open up about, you know. And
but her talking about that, like you were saying, could affect someone else to go,
exactly.
oh, I got a problem.
Yeah. So, and that's why I think it's really important. So that's why I always love to hear the people I idolize talk about it. You know, it's like,
man, it's so interesting to me, all the tie-ins. It's like, it's funny because I know that they weren't watching our stream before they logged in, or like yesterday or whatever, but it's like a lot of the stuff they talked about tied in so well to stuff we've been talking about even before they came on.
Exactly.
You know? Like the James Hetfield riff thing is a good example. Like we were just talking about Tony Iommi and the riffs and how important riffs are. And then that to me was a high point too, in talking to them, just to see them kind of almost glowing about the music, like the way that they reacted to each other and how enthusiastic it was really obvious both of them were about this music. Like to me, that's a cool thing.
It is really cool.
It was real evident.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way to end this day.
Yeah. I got some chores to do. So
so tomorrow I'm hitting the Disturbed concert.
Okay.
So I'll be photographing that, and that's let's see, Ginger's opening for him.
Oh, Ginger and the Gents?
No, Ginger.
Oh, okay. Ginger, the Ukrainian band.
Yeah.
Man, they were friggin' awesome. I saw them at the end of last year with POD.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they tore it up. Ginger was awesome. She is so amazing. The singer
and
chick.
then this one will kind of make you laugh, but I'm kind of excited to hear them again. Is Theory of a Dead Man.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of from that like Nickelback Creed era of rock, which I mean, post grunge, I guess some people would call it. It's a lot of those bands have good songs. Bush is a good example.
Bush is a really good example.
Bush has some great stuff, you know. Like I don't, like I said earlier, man, I don't hate, like if you can pull an audience, if you're doing something in music and you're drawing a crowd, even if I don't love your music, I got respect.
Yeah. You're obviously doing better than we are.
Totally.
Right?
I mean, I'm not in a touring band.
No.
But it's also a grind, man. Talking to these people like Josh Todd from Buck Cherry. One of the things I thought about asking these guys, but you had so many more. I kind of like wanted to, because you know them and you know their music, but I was going to ask them about their album grind. Like, do they like force themselves to write an album every so many years? And because I know for Buck Cherry, for Josh Todd and guys like Kenny from I Am and Typo Negative, that like they're like, I got people to feed, you know, like I got to keep putting something out.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, I'm rambling now.
All right, man. Well, it was good to do this one, and I'm excited to get this one out to the world, especially with
it's up. Like once we log off, it'll be there to watch.
Yeah.
The other thing is, that's what's great about this live stream. I'm working on getting some future guests. So like anyone we can that's cool to come by. I think I like this format, especially when we start an hour early and then the band comes on later, because we're already warmed up and it's like natural. And then it's like we can almost transition and talk with them about some of the stuff we were talking about. And so it seems to work well.
I could probably line us up with a half a dozen of them. So
yeah, I'm trying to get Fear Factory.
That'd be cool.
That's one that I'm like, I've been talking to their management about. And but we'll see. I mean, it really depends on if their schedule lines up with what we can do. But any, like with Enforcer as an example, like some of these bands, even Fifth Angel, I just kind of took it thinking like, I don't know their music super well, but even just talking to these people makes me go, oh, I want to go listen to some of their stuff now. And
Exactly.
get acquainted with them. So
yeah.
Same thing here with Elaine. Like I'll go listen to their records now.
Yeah. So all right, man. Well, it was a good chat today.